Hey guys, welcome back to my channel Glitched Velocity. I'm your host Wazahat, and this video is the continuation of my previous videos in the series named How to Create 2D Games Without Programming. In previous videos we have created a 2D character with some animations and a player movement controller. We have also added a camera follow to our player. But in this video what we are going to do is we are going to do some level designing stuff, and we will be fixing this animation of sliding over the platforms. So without further ado, let's get started. But before starting, I want you to download all the extensions and plugins we're gonna use in this video from the links in the description down below. And also, if you haven't watched my previous video yet, then you can watch it now by clicking the I button overlay on the top right corner of this video. Open up your Coppercube project from previous videos, which will look something like this. First of all, what we are going to do is we are going to fix the animation of sliding over the platforms. To fix that issue, select your player mesh from the Scene Graph Explorer, go to its Behavior tab, and we will be adding a new variable to the movement controller keys, which is right arrow key and the left arrow keys. Select this when a key pressed is do something, key press left, key press down, and then we are gonna set a new variable, player moving, and we're gonna set this value to true. We're going to do the same for the right key. Go to its action, then variable syntax, then set or change a variable, set a new variable which is player moving is equal to true. We are going to do the same but with the opposite value for the key releases for both the keys, left key and right arrow key. When a key pressed is do something, key pressed is left. When the key left up, we are going to set or change a variable, player moving, but this time with the value of false. Do the same for the right arrow key. Go to variable syntax, set or change a variable, player moving is equal to false. Player moving is equal to false. Now what we are going to do is we are going to compare this variable on every few seconds. We have every few seconds do something behavior attached here. Select this, go to its actions, create a new if a variable has a value, then do something, and check player moving. Player moving is equal to true, then go to its action and attach a new if a variable has a value, do something, and now we are going to check the player animation. So if player moving is equal to true, and we are going to check the idle animation, and the player is in idle animation, then switch to run animation. So player animation is equal to idle, then we are going to change it to run animation. So go to new action, variable syntax, set or change a variable, player animation. Oops, I'm doing so many typing mistakes today. And with the value of run. Player animation with the value of run, and this will fix the issue of sliding over the platforms. So let's just test our application by clicking publish as Windows exe and just check. So our character is now moving, but as soon as we press the left arrow key or right arrow key, the character is now moving, and on key release, it switch back to idle animation. So we're gonna check the sliding animation by pressing the control button here, and now the character walks perfectly even if the jump key is pressed and the arrow keys are also pressed. So the sliding animation is now fixed. Now what we are going to do is we are going to do the level designing stuff. But before starting level designing, I want you to do some tweaking, or you may say some adjustment to the current level. What we are going to do is we are going to turn off the anisotropic filtering and bilinear filter, because it will make the game looks more appealing by graphics. So right now if I zoom in, then you will see this white outline or gray outline around the edges of this player, and this world dummy is also kind of blurred. So to make it sharp and a bit more clear, we are going to turn off the anisotropic filtering and bilinear filter off for all the 2D scene nodes here. So to do that, what we are going to do is we are going to use the IRR edit tools. Go to view and click show IRR edit, IRR LICHT properties. Go to materials and turn off anisotropic filtering or bilinear filter for all the scene nodes. So just to demonstrate it, I'm gonna select this world dummy here and turn off this anisotropic filtering, and as soon as I turn off this bilinear filter 1, then you will notice the change in the viewport. Just look at this tree here, and if I click this bilinear filter, then so it is noticeable. You can see the edges are now sharp and more clear. If I turn on bilinear filter, then it's a kind of blurry. So we are going to do the same for each and every scene node which is in 2D. So we are going to turn off the bilinear filter for idle animation and anisotropic filtering as well. We are going to do the same for run animation. I'm not going to do the same for all of these scene nodes because it will consume a lot of time and the video will become a lot more longer. So you can do it by yourself. So now if you look the player, the white or grayish outline around the edges is now gone, completely gone, and the player looks much sharper and the graphics are much appealing. So now let's move on to our level designing part. In order to do level designing, we are required to split some PNG file or split some sprite sheets, which is in our Sunnyland files folder, which we have created or extracted in first part of the video in the series. Go to Sunnyland, then Sunnyland files again, then go to environment, then go to layers, then select this tile set, and we are going to split this tile set into separate individual PNG files. And to do that, what we are going to do is we are going to use an online service which is easygif.com, or you can Google sprite splitter, which will show the exact website. Open this easygif.com sprite sheet cutter. We are required to select our image file here, which we are going to split into several or individual images. So I'm gonna select this tile set and then click this upload button here. It will load the PNG file here, and there are two methods of splitting the tile sets or sprites. One is by tile size, second is by number of columns or rows. We are going to use the by tile size, and we are going to use 16 by 16 tile size. And if I hit cut now, then it will split the images into individual files, and now I can download frames as zip. Let me just download it. So here are the downloaded images. Now I'm gonna extract all these images into a new folder on my desktop, and I'm gonna rename it to tile sets. Oops, I'm doing so much typing mistakes. It will also contain some blank spaces or white images, and it doesn't matter, we're gonna load them as well. Go to your editor and go to texture panel, click add button here, go to your desktop where we have created a new folder named tile sets, and select all the sprites or images by pressing Ctrl A and click open. And now it is loading texture data. It will take a few seconds depending on your computer process. So it's loading and loading and loading, and now it's loaded. So there are so many blank images, as you can see in the texture panel here, but it will also contain the tiles we are going to use for the level designing. We have background images, and we have bricks, walls, mountains, platforms, trees, branches, grass, and all that stuff as a separate PNG file of 16 by 16. Now in order to use this for level designing, what we are going to do is I'm going to create a new folder node here and gonna rename it to level designing. And gonna duplicate it and make it children of this scene node by drag and drop, and gonna rename it to platforms. So first of all, what we are going to do is we are going to create some platforms. For example, we are going to create this platform here, and I'm gonna delete the default cube mesh which we have created as the dummy for our player, and I'm gonna delete this. I'm gonna delete this as well, and this one also. So now we have our player. Let me create a new folder node here which will be player and NPCs. It will contain our player node here, drag and drop to here. All right, now it looks much better. We are going to use this world dummy for as a reference for our level designing. So first of all, what we are going to do is we are going to create this tile, and let me just search it where it is. All right, here it is, tile 028. It looks like same. All right, so now go to create tab and create a new plane mesh with tile count of 1, width of 16 by 16, because our image resolution is 16 by 16 here, and we're gonna leave this repeat texture count as 1. And what we are going to do is we are going to turn off this bilinear filter for this as well. And now I'm gonna apply the texture here, rotate it on minus 90 degree on the x-axis, and now I'm gonna change its position to 0 0, and it will move here. And in order to work more efficiently, I'm gonna change my viewport to back. Zoom out, and we're gonna move it up here a little bit here. And now I'm gonna create a cube mesh with tile with size of 16 as well. And I'm gonna change its position with the position of my plane mesh. Copy the position of plane mesh by clicking this position attributes, clicking Ctrl C, and go to cube mesh, properties, position, and press Ctrl plus V and hit enter, so that it will move to the position of plane mesh. And now select this plane mesh here, go to polygon editing, go to tools, and select merge selected mesh into another mesh, and select this cube mesh here, click OK. What it will do is it will merge our plane mesh with our cube mesh. Now our plane mesh and cube mesh are one single scene node, so it will merge two different scene nodes into one. Now I'm going to rename this to platform tile 1, platform tile middle, or platform tile 1, and I'm gonna move it to platforms here. Go to its materials tab, make it transparent alpha channel, and this one to transparent add, and select a black PNG image for this transparent add material here for the cube. Now it will make the cube material completely transparent, but the plane mesh material will appear as it is. So now we have created our first tile, and what we are going to do is we are going to create a bunch of duplicate of this tile set by pressing Ctrl C and moving it up here, then hold Shift and then X. What it will do is it will move this duplicated scene node to this object, or it will snap this duplicated tile set to the previous tile set on the x-axis, positive of x-axis. So it will make your level designing stuff a lot more easier. You don't have to manually adjust position of this tile set. All you need is Shift plus X. But in order to use this method of snapping this tile set to the other tile set or other object, you need to download a plugin named, where is plugins, plugin named snap to object. Then you will have this properties here, snap to object positive X, which is shift plus X, snap to object on negative X, Shift plus Control plus X, and so on for the Z axis and Y axis as well. You can download the extension from my website www.neophyte.cf. neophyte.cf. I don't know what is happening. I'm doing a lot of typing mistakes. Go to assets, then there is a plugin named plugin snap to object. Originally this plugin is created by Robo from Ambiera forums, and I have modified it to work for all the access. So download it from here and put it in your extensions or plugins directory. Now Control C, move it up here, Shift X, Control C, move it here, Shift X, Control C, move it here, Shift X, Control C, move it here and Shift X. It's easier and it will stay in this loop here. You can change this folder's name to platform tile 1, platform tile 1, so that it will easier for you to navigate whenever you need to change the tiles or change the level design. Now if I make this world dummy invisible, then you will notice that this is looking much better and much clear and much sharper, and you don't have to create bunch of different cube meshes as platforms. So if I now test the application, then you will notice that the character is aligning perfectly on the platforms. It is not up and down, you don't have to move the cube mesh, so it's aligning perfectly. Everything is working perfectly. Now we are going to add more platforms. In order to add more platforms, I'm gonna make it world dummy visible again, and I'm gonna copy it and move it here wherever it is used. Zoom in and move it here. Control C, Shift X, Control C, Shift X. I'm not going to do all sort of level designing, but I'm gonna show you the basics of creating platforms and creating non-collidable platforms, creating closed platforms, or creating one-sided platforms and all. Don't get confused, or it is not that complex as it sounds. I'm gonna clone it, Shift X, clone, Shift X, Control C, Shift X, Control C again, Shift X, Control C, Shift X, Control C, and then Shift X. So if I turn the visibility off for this world dummy and check the application, it is working fine. The player is moving, the player is not sliding now, and we have created platforms with bunch of. So this is how you can create platforms or do level designing stuff. Now let me just switch back this world dummy to visible, that we can do a lot more level designing. Now what we are going to do is we will be going to create a non-collidable tile. So as we are having all our sprites of 16 by 16 in width and height, so what we are going to do is we are going to create a new folder node here, create a new folder node, and I'm going to rename it to platform tile dirt no collision. And gonna move it here. So now we are going to create this dirt or sand tile set by searching in our texture manager for the correct tile. I think this is the right tile or the correct tile for this dirt here. So I'm gonna select this and gonna clone it and drag and drop this tile here. And now I'm gonna switch to materials tab of this platform tile 16 and move it here. And I'm gonna change the first material with this material by clicking here. Don't double click here, it will change all the materials and we don't want our materials to change. So just select this and change the first material only. Now you can use Shift Y so that it will snap to this tile, and you can now clone it by pressing Ctrl C and use Shift Y, clone it by pressing Ctrl C, use Shift X, sorry, Ctrl Shift X. You can press Ctrl C again, then you can use Ctrl C again, Ctrl X again, sorry. Now you can use Ctrl C and then you can use Ctrl Shift Y. So that's how you can create level designing stuff. But wait a second, I did a mistake here. So I'm gonna delete all these tiles here because we want this to be non-collidable. So we have to change its attribute and uncheck this collision mark here. And now I'm gonna clone it and move it by snapping it to the tile set, clone it and moving it, clone it and moving it, clone it and moving it. So you can do this sort of things. And now we are going to clone this one here, this tile one here, and now I'm gonna search for it. Where it is, where is this tile? All right, here it is. So select this tile and create a new folder node here, and rename it to box tile block 1, and I'm gonna move it here, drag and drop, clone this and move this here, change its first material with this selected one, and now we are going to rotate it because the tile set is rotated. So we're gonna rotate it on the Z axis, or maybe on the positive of X axis. No, we're gonna rotate it on Z axis by 180 degrees, maybe. Yeah, maybe 90 degrees, or maybe minus 90 degrees. Oops. All right. We are going to rotate it on the 90 degrees on the x-axis and go to its materials tab and then go to advanced setting and select this double-sided material on. Now if I go to attributes and change the rotation on I don't know what's happening. All right, so now we have this tile set here. Now we can move it here. Sometimes it's really hard for me to rotate it correctly. So move it here, clone it, then move it here. Clone it again, move it here, clone it, move it here, and use shift control Y. Clone it, use control shift X. So this is how you can do level designing for most of the part. I'm not going to do for all the stuff, but this video is the first part for the level designing. In the next video I'm gonna tell you how to create platforms which are semi-collidable, which means you can go through the bottom part of the platforms, but the player will stay at the upper part of the platforms. So in the next video I will show you some more level designing stuff, but you can do most of the level designing by using the same method. Just select the tile set, create folder node here so that your scene graph explorer will look neat and clean. Then apply the texture for the first material, then use the plugin to snap the tiles to an object, different object. You can use collidable or non-collidable tile sets. For example, we are going to use collidable tile set for these, so we are going to turn on collision for all these. And we are good to go. Let me just quickly create some more platforms so that we can have more area to move. Let me zoom in. You are not bound to do exactly as the wall dummy. You can create your own platforms. You can move it here or anywhere else, but I'm going to do the same with a reference to the dummy world so that it will be easier. Or you can say that I'm not good in level designing, so that's why I'm using this world dummy as the reference for the level designing stuff. You can use the plugin is really useful when you want to snap to object. All you have to do is clone and use shift X or control shift X or shift Y or control shift Y. Don't worry if you forget to clone some nodes, or if you don't know if you have cloned it or not cloned it, because you can do this always. Make this invisible and check if the platform looks great or not. So this is how you can create platforms. And if I now test the application, then you will see that our character is moving, it is jumping, and it is moving, and it's not sliding like before. And in the next video I will also show you one simple trick, which is, for example, now if I am moving in the air, the character is now moving, while we want our character to be in falling loop whenever the character is in air. We don't want to show the moving or running animation when the character is in the air. So whenever the character leaves the platform, we want it to show the falling animation, which is ideal for the 2D games. So in the next video we will do some more level designing, and I will show you how to fix the falling animation. Let me just check if we have, oops, we need to jump from here. So now the camera is not following. You can see the camera is not following because we have an issue here. The character stuck here. So we'll do some more level designing and we'll see what we can do. So if you like the video, then please subscribe my channel and give the video a thumbs up. Also press the bell icon if you want to get notification for my future video updates. Alright, bye bye, peace, good evening from here.